back in the 90s, it was hard out there for a stalker.
Really tough.
It was like you
had to get out the door, had to put on
in.
clothes.
To save up for gas and stuff.
Yeah, you had to get in.
Put the gun away. What kind of way is that to treat our guests?
What if Ace Ventura was your stalker?
Yeah.
Please help yourself to champagne and first aid.
You put a priest in a box?
No, I put a pastor in a box. We're Protestant.
I think the opening scene is my favorite of any movie this year. There's so much tension and boundless psychotic energy that it feels like the building blocks for the rest of the movie. So to start, Jimmy, where did the idea for Borderline come from?
I was just talking about this actually, but I was listening to a cover of Borderline, the Madonna song, but the Flaming Lips were performing it, and it kind of just it told a different story, sung in the way that they do and performed in the way that they do. And I just sort of pictured, a man escaping from some sort of like an insane guy, truly believing that he was engaged to a pop star and having that conversation with said pop star's bodyguard. And that was just sort of the jumping off point.
I want to ask about some of your inspirations for these characters. Ray Dewerson is so delightfully unhinged. What or who did you look at for inspiration for such a deranged character?
All line reads.
Yeah. One of the things that was when we first met was we talked about that first scene. And, when you start at such a level, how do you still make this guy kind of likable?
What, are you having second thoughts?
Like, how do you still kind of want to see them be together? Because when you're starting at such a high point, like, you have to have somewhere to go. And I think that we managed to do that. I mean, I definitely know that when we first met, we talked about a bunch of different movies that we thought that this was like.
We talked about like King of Comedy.
King of Comedy was definitely one of them.
Mercy
was definitely one of them.
Cable Guy.
Yeah. Like anything Jim Carrey, honestly, Ace Ventura, one of the best movies of all time, let's face it.
Yeah. A lot of it was like, what if Ace Ventura was your stalker?
Yeah.
I could see it now.
Yeah, that was a jumping off point for us. And in the costumes as well.
Yeah.
Well, and then Samara, this is set in the 90s, so were there any pop stars at the time that you were taking influence from for Sophia?
Yeah, a lot. But again, what really kind of locked in an idea for me was in King of Comedy, how Jerry Lewis responds to being kidnapped is so kind of calm and
you're insane.
He's kind of like annoyed that he's being kidnapped. He's still afraid. He's still playing it in a very realistic way. But there's this, it allows him to be the straight man to their insanity. And I liked that for this character because I do think if her fear like manifested as, really screaming and crying and full of terror and having a sort of flight and fright response, I think it would have taken away from the comedy that the other characters were bringing. And also it gave me a lot more freedom to be sort of more level-headed in her responses to them. So I really like how Jerry Lewis did that. So I kind of took some inspo from him.
Jimmy, I wanted to ask about the setting. What made you want to choose the 90s for this story?
I was just in... I kind of wanted to go back to a time where a stalker had to actually knock on your door and not just like hack into your emails and
right.
And stalk. I mean, we're all stalking now, sitting on the toilet scrolling through Instagram in one way or
Definitely,
another.
mostly on the toilet.
But like,
You especially.
It's 100%.
you know, back in the 90s, it was hard out there for a stalker.
Really tough.
It was like you
Had to
actually
get out the door,
you
had to put
get
on
in.
clothes.
Just save up for gas and stuff. wouldn't
Yeah, you had to get in.
You have to do hard work.
And I don't know, there was something that was, I'm not sure that the story really called for, you know, cell phones.
Yeah.
Cell phones are tough to deal with than anything horror related, so I totally get it.
Yeah, I wanted to take all of that stuff out there and out of it and just like make it about the characters and you really to feel like they're alone.
When Duerson mixes people up in the film and sees Sophia and others, so due to that just absolutely ludicrous situation, Ray, did you have any difficulty filming those scenes?
Those were some of the most fun scenes that I had filming. Standing there at the altar with Jimmy Fails is still one of the favorite moments of my entire life. Like, it was so much
beautiful.
fun. It was beautiful.
Beautiful. Stunning
It was
couple.
You look
by the
good.
way.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Like, but just, I could feel how uncomfortable he was. And so I immediately, like, played so deeply into that, like, and like literally, I mean, it got to the point where he couldn't look at me where I was delivering my lines because he kept breaking.
Kept laughing, yeah.
And it was just really fun. Like, obviously, as a performer, when something like that happens, and I'm like, okay, well, that's gonna work because it's still going off camera, you know. Yeah. It just gives so much freedom to play, and then just like, yeah, just torturing the poor guy. Yeah. It was so fun. It was so fun.
Yeah. I mean, that was his. Jimmy and I spoke about that at length and that moment, and I think that it was about, you know, the character is so uncomfortable at that point, but he's like, it's sort of like, just do it. So I thought he played that so well. Mm-hmm. Just like both of them are just like, get over it with, get it over with, you know, at this point.
Ray, there's this long take on you and you're really going through a range of emotions. So during that moment, Jimmy, are you giving Ray direction or is it just a film and let us do his thing?
No, that was, you know, that wasn't planned. So we started and we had him shoot the lines, and then I just wasn't gonna tell him when we were cutting, and you know we rolled the camera until, you know, the light gave out, and that's what he gave, and after that I was like, all right, we got our ending. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's such an impactful scene because I feel like it gives so much context to Duerson without any dialogue. I feel like it gives more of a insight into his character without dialogue than the prior 90 minutes because you're just like, oh, you kind of get him a little bit more.
Yeah,
it's
it's his entire arc. That's the way that, you know, we were thinking about it, and you know, not everybody can pull that type of thing off, but Ray crushed it.
For a bit of fun, I wanted to ask about the candelabra that's made up of various Sophia heads. It's such a unique prop. Did anyone get to take that home for after filming?
We've got it in our kitchen.
Yeah, we have it in our kitchen.
We bring it out for Christmas, and well, you walk in and it's right there.
We bring it out. It's the first thing you
It's
see
the first
when
thing
you
you
come
see when you come into our house.
That's absolutely amazing. When you're having something like that, does part of you think like, oh, this is going to be great to have after the fact?
Oh my God, I do write. You're not wrong to ask if I write movies like that, because I do. But I'm like, this is great. I should just write watches and cars into movies. But the one that I wanted to take home, but it was the peeing cherub statue. But Sam wouldn't let it into the house.
Well, we already have a giant cocaine bear in the garden. Yeah. Got to draw the line somewhere.
I thought it would be nice with.
I don't know. I think it would go together well.
Do you think?
Yeah, a roaring bear with like this little peeing cherub behind it. I think would be nice.
Please help yourself to champagne and first aid.
You put a priest in a box?
No, I put a pastor in a box. We're Protestant.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.